Yeah.
Let's get this part going.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Linku. We're just waiting to get started here on the podcast.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Mad Luke's podcast. My name is Sim. Along with me is the ever popular co-host of the show, Muzzy Buzz, my man Mort.
Assalamu alaikum.
Ahlan wa welcome. Yeah, shababis.
Yeah, shababis.
On another exciting episode
Can we
on a
just
Wednesday.
restart that and be more enthusiastic?
Really?
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Mad Mamluks.
Really?
Yeah, it was kind of low energy.
Really? Low energy,
It was kind of bringing me down a little bit.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
See, you know what? I don't have my headphones on, and that's what's kind of throwing me off.
That's what it is.
That's what it is.
And also because Sheikh Amir decided to abandon us this episode, so there was no spiritual upliftment here. So
yeah, look at that. Missing chair.
we're kind of hung dry at the moment.
Sheikh, he's got some car problems for a car that he just bought.
Car problems.
Yeah, exactly. Our noble Sheikh, I don't know, sometimes we wonder at his hikmah, but the awliya have their own ways. He bought a car with brake problems. It doesn't make sense to me. He just bought it.
This is like a testimony to a fact that people are specialists in their own fields.
Yeah.
Like, just because you're good at fiqh and aqidah and sharia does not mean you're good at picking cars.
That's true. Remember the famous hadith of the Prophet where the farmer comes to him asking him about how to plant the seeds, and the Prophet gives him some advice and it doesn't work, and then he comes back to the Prophet and the Prophet said, I don't know, like, I just gave you my own advice.
I love that
I'm just
moment.
paraphrasing, by the way. I don't mean to.
Yeah, I love that moment because he's like, look, it wasn't wahi to me, bro. I just thought this would be a good idea.
Yeah.
And it's a good teachable moment, you know? Okay, so we have some comments.
Let's go ahead and put the link of the chat.
The StreamYard link to join in live. Yeah. So for those of you watching on TikTok, we will be taking guests in a little bit once we kind of set the tone for the show. So if you have some comments that you want to add, we'll bring you guys up too. We got a balance between StreamYard and TikTok. So be patient, let the show evolve, and then we'll get you on when it's the right time.
And if we may have to take some time. Sometimes we need to finish our thought and topics, and you guys got to be patient in the lobby. And sometimes we just can't come to you quick enough, and you brothers get shy and leave.
Yeah, don't get shy. We're ugly, just like you. So
speak for yourself, Morty. Everyone, we have a very excellent show. If you guys got questions, throw them in the comment section, or just hop on StreamYard and speak your mind. If you disagree with us, what I love about our show, Mort, is that we don't leave room for controversy or people getting too upset, because we allow you the platform. You really want to feel upset about something,
please join in.
Correct
it
us.
Out.
How many shows give you that opportunity?
Like, we literally give a soapbox.
Do you think, mashallah, the Muhammad Hijabs of the world allow you to come on their show and just say, hey, Ahmed so-and-so from Luton Shire?
Luton Shire.
I don't think that's a real city. But Ahmed from Luton Shire, you cannot come on the Muhammad Hijab show. But you can come on the Mad Mamluks and speak your mind and tell us if we are saying something that is contrary to Islam or even just your own opinion.
Yeah.
The link is in the chat. Go and check it out. It's pinned. No excuses.
Yep. And for those of you on TikTok, just kind of, you can request and we'll just wait until it was time, and then we'll bring you up in the order. So we'll get to you, inshallah.
All right. So leading off the stories, we have the Holy Land. Should we just start off with the Holy Land?
Let's start with the Holy Land.
Holy Land. You know what? There's a video I found. This new guy, Sami Hamdi. Do you know him?
Yeah, I mean, I know. Yeah, I know.
He's doing some good reporting. I think I like him. I'm not going to be overly critical about some of his stuff, but Well, actually, I don't know much about him, so I don't know what to be critical. But it seems like your tone kind of gave me something to be.
No. I mean, the reason why I said that is because, like, I get he's reporting on things, but like he'll say things that are like sometimes made with an assumption. Like his last post was about, oh, Mohammed bin Salman wants to build another Kaaba, right? And that just wasn't true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm not saying he's wrong in the reporting, but I feel like, hey, if we're going to talk about serious subjects, let's try to keep it as honest as possible. Otherwise, what happens is people end up discrediting you, right? Like, oh, no one said that. You know what I mean?
Well, let's just talk about that. You know, the Saudi Arabia is building a giant golden cube. This thing is the size of 40 Empire State Buildings?
Something massively
incredibly
huge.
large. It's part of the whole, Vision 2030 project that the Saudis are pushing out. They're building this thing called the Line. They're building.
Yeah, that's the NEOM project they're doing, which they're planning to do like this entire ecosystem of this like entire I think it's going to be like 200 kilometers long. Like it's going to be a series of homes, and basically the idea is that you can have a super rail that goes in between, and people can live within this line, which is going to be like kind of embedded with the architecture or the geography of the area.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like several kilometers long.
200 kilometers.
It's supposed to be like the largest structure on Earth. Saudi Arabia is like they want to get off this dependency of oil. They know that the oil is going to run out, which is a good move. So basically the strategy is get off the reliance of oil. By 2030, you should be a tourist hub for the world. They want to set up the new wonders of the world in Saudi Arabia. So they want to set up this line thing that is a big, magnificent structure. Rectangular. We've talked about it on the show. We've showed pictures of it before. I'm not going to show it to you again. Hopefully you guys know how to Google. So go ahead and do that. But I mean,
so I don't think that's going to be mainly a tourist spot. That is to attract a different type of crowd.
Bro, wouldn't you want to go see it though?
Yeah, I'm sure. But what I think is what they're trying to do is that's going to be an area that is supposedly going to have its own bylaws and its own ruling, and the idea is to bring investors and make a smart city. So people that are like involved in fintech and automation, and they're trying to build a whole community of people that would be living there, and mainly probably foreigners, not even like local. Actually, I would probably argue they might even be gearing towards non-Muslims to live there.
Yeah. So they're also building a skiable mountain in the desert. So that's an incredible accomplishment. And many people are doubting whether that's even possible, even with artificial snow, because this area of the desert, it gets cold, but not that cold where it can really sustain snow for a very long period of time. And
the problem also is that when snow does melt, right? If you're a skier, so you probably know better, but the whole idea of being compact and icy is not really good for skiing.
Exactly. So if anyone who's been into mountains with the artificial snow, it's not really mountains, they're usually hills. So it's usually a small hill, typically in climates where there's not much snow, there's not much altitude. So in where we are in Illinois and Wisconsin, they have like these deep cavernous areas that are where there's large hills. They're not mountains though. So what they do is they throw artificial snow all over these mountains, and they turn out to become like little ice pebbles. And there's this idea that they're going to make artificial snow if needed for these mountains. So I'm trying to remember the name of this project.
I don't even remember the name, but
skiable mountain. Hang on.
Yeah, but the problem is that like as much as they try to make artificial snow, right? There's a melting process.
Trojina. Or is it Trojina? I don't know if it's Mexican.
I think it's Trojina.
That'd be funny if there's like a Spanish name. Trojina.
Totally throw everybody off.
No. Imagine MBS.
Trojina. That'd be kind of funny. Yeah. But apparently that's the new project. So it's a huge endeavor. So I'm not taking away from the accomplishment if they're able to do so, but it does seem that they're heading in a different direction, and these all have consequences. right?
Yeah. So
there's trade-offs that are happening. And so the reason why we brought this up is because the guy you just mentioning, although he is reporting about factual news, I feel like if we want to really be concerned about something, we need to make sure that we don't add like details that aren't really there, right? Like to say that someone's making a separate Kaaba, that is a pretty serious accusation, right? Like, and I think like even if it's, I get it for shock value and for news value, fine, but I prefer to have my news in a different way. Like, just give me the facts. Don't tell me your opinion.
Yeah, well, okay, so it does look like a Kaaba, though, right? I mean, it does kind of look like a Kaaba in that sense, where it's like this big, giant cube, and I'm putting it up for you guys in a second. If my browser cooperates for a second.
But you know what? To be honest, though, it could just be a rendering, right? Because they haven't finalized these things.
No,
right?
no, it's going to be a cube. They just don't. I mean, the scale of the cube is what is the question. So what you're seeing right now on your screen is the actual cube, but what's also inside the cube, there's going to be a giant
tower.
No, like a hologram. It's supposed to be like this holographic reality. I don't know how to describe it.
Mm-hmm.
It's barely made sense when someone was explaining it to me. But it's supposed to be some type of Epcot Center type,
like interactive
holograms and stuff. The technology still isn't even completely ironed out yet, apparently.
Seems like one of those, those virtual Holocaust museums where like you can go and talk to ex-Holocaust survivors. They have one of those. Like you can go, like they spent like hours of recording footage of Holocaust survivors.
Yeah.
And even though they die, you can go ask them questions in a hologram, and you can have a conversation with them.
So on top of this cube is going to be also a lake.
Lake?
Yeah, there's going to be a lake on top of this cube. This giant golden
fish
cube
there or something.
It's going to be a lake. I don't know how. I mean, it's going to be the size of. You can fit 40 Empire State Buildings. Okay,
yeah.
So imagine how big that lake is going to be, and then it's going to have to architecturally support all that water. I wonder if there's going to be boats and fishermen there. I don't know, but it would be a great sight to see. Just someone just doing the old backstroke. On that lake.
What if somebody goes to like skinny dip? You're walking below.
Those giant like rubber ducky type balloons are just like sitting in the middle.
That'd be kind of cool.
They're going to be making a lake on top of this giant cube. It does kind of like what you're seeing on your screen right now is what is a cutout of it. So you're seeing the inside of what it looks like as well. But it's going to be, and it's got the Hijazi architecture outside on the edges of it. If I can make this
like the wooden and like the clay type.
If you see like these kind of triangular designs on it, I'm going to make this thing bigger. Like
geometric shapes.
Yeah, it's like a Hijazi architecture. So I didn't even know they had their own architectural design. But mashallah, never rule out the Hijaz.
But I still think that's different than saying, hey, they're building a Kaaba. Because Kaaba, we think worship, right?
But look, they're making a giant structure. And it kind of makes you scratch your head, Like, what are you doing here? Like, are you trying to undermine the Kaaba?
If they built it in Mecca, then I would say, oh, wow. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's...
I think it's a coincidence, right? I think it's a coincidence that the Kaaba and this cube are, the same shape. I'll give them that much, okay?
Yeah.
But I'm not upset by anyone thinking like, because there's enough similarity that, hey, look, you're the home of the Kaaba, you're the home of the Haramain, and you are also building a new similar looking object that is a cube shaped, and it's for the entire opposite of what the Kaaba is for. It's for entertainment. So, and naturally, it's like you can't even give them that much like benefit of doubt, because these people are doing so much to undermine Islam and the religion across the country that it just makes you wonder, like, wait, is this next?
Yeah, I mean, but my whole thing is like I just like honest reporting, right? Like, I'm no one denying it. There's doing certain things there, but I just like to have honesty, right? Because otherwise, if someone were to do it the other way, right, and in a position that you don't like, that you were maybe for, and someone was reporting against it, you would want them to be as accurate as possible, right? Yeah. So you're not putting words in people's mouths, right? So that's the only thing I say. I mean, I'm not denying any criticism of it. They have more than every right to criticize the massive spending and all that stuff, right? But I do question, like, what other structure would be able to hold that big? I mean, besides a cube or a rectangle, like, what else would be able to hold that?
Hold what?
I mean, just to be that large, besides being a cube or a rectangle.
Yeah, right. I mean,
what else is it going to be?
I don't know. But here we go. Let's see what Sami Hamdi is reporting, because he just does it really well.
Bin Salman has issued a new set of orders and rules that have been published on the Ministry of Islamic Affairs website, designed to tone down and restrict Ramadan in Saudi Arabia as he continues with his push to drive Islam out of the public sphere. Firstly, the ban on the use of loudspeakers for mosques will not be lifted during Ramadan. The call to prayer remains restricted to 1/3 of the volume of the loudspeakers, and loudspeakers are banned entirely for Quranic recitation, even if worshippers struggle to hear the Imam from the back. Secondly, the broadcasting of Taraweeh, Ramadan prayers, is banned on all media platforms. The famous Masjid Quba, where the legendary Imam of Medina, Muhammad Ayyub, rahimahullah, was discovered, and other mosques, are all banned from broadcasting the recitation of the Imam and broadcasting prayers that are often watched in the hundreds of thousands by Muslims around the world. The holy mosques of Mecca and Medina are not expected to be included in this ban. Bin Salman seeks to avoid a backlash similar to last year when he tried to apply this ban to the two holy mosques. Thirdly, the new rules order that prayers should be shortened and the dua or supplications should be kept short. Fourthly, anyone looking to sit in the mosque in the last 10 days for i'tikaf must show ID. In other words, the state apparatus will intimidate worshippers by collecting information for surveillance, a tactic that Bin Ali used in Tunisia to discourage people from going to the mosques. The fifth rule is that mosques are banned from collecting donations from worshippers, whether that be to fund meals for those breaking their fast or for any other purposes. It's worth noting here that worshippers often donate during Ramadan towards meals on the basis of a saying of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whoever gives food for a fasting person to break his fast, he will have a reward like the one who fasted. The sixth rule is that worshippers are ordered not to bring their children to the mosques. And this rule is almost identical to that of Soviet satellite states that banned children from mosques in order to prevent Islamic influences on their nurturing and upbringing. The seventh rule is that mosques may not provide meals for fasting worshippers inside the mosque and cannot set up tents outside for communal meals at the time of breaking the fast. There are other rules, but Bin Salman's message is absolutely clear. In Saudi, Ramadan must be quiet.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, there's definitely things in there that are problematic. Definitely, no doubt.
There's no way to defend it. You can't figure out any. I'm sure there's some kind of wisdom behind what he says to his advisors and stuff, or what he's peddling to the public. Where we're trying to be a more civilized nation. We're trying to be a nation that is more inviting to the Western money, basically Western money, to come in and invest and come in for tourism.
So my thing is, I don't think Western money has been reluctant to invest in for.
Not investment for tourism.
Yeah. But I mean, to be honest, they're trying to build tourism outside. I don't understand the logic is what I'm trying to say, because they're trying to build tourism in Al-Ula, like in Tabuk, in Riyadh. Generally, Westerners understand that Mecca and Medina are religious places, right?
Yeah.
And you and the ones who are coming there would probably like to see how Muslims worship. So it should be actually more religiously inclined, right? For example, if I went to Jordan and I wanted to go to Petra, I wouldn't tell them, don't be too Arab here, right?
Yeah.
Like you want to give them the most Arab experience, right? Because you're going to see the Bedouin ways in Petra. Right, so do you see what I'm saying? Like, if most people who are going to come and visit Mecca and Medina are probably going to want to see the Muslim experience, right? So wouldn't you make it more Muslimic, right? You know what I mean? Like, in that sense, right? But aside from all that, I think the major problems here are this. First of all, the volume on the adhan. Now, I don't know what this actually means. So there have been problems, I know, in certain neighborhoods that I've heard about, where imams will just full blast it all the way up top, like, because some areas, like, they have homes like right next to the masjid,
Yeah.
Right. And so literally, like, you could be in your bedroom and this thing's blaring by your ear.
Yeah.
Now, if that's what they're trying to avoid, I think there's a far better way to name this, right? To just make a blanket ban and say you have to have your adhan at like 1/3 volume. It's just problematic to me because Muslim countries are known so you can hear the adhan everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the point. Like, you want to remind people to pray. Right?
The adhan was so important that if Muslim armies did not hear the adhan coming from the neighboring town, they would attack and invade.
Yeah,
that's how serious
Not
the
only
adhan
that,
is to Islamic society, Islamic
and
culture.
actually, they would actually call the adhan as a sign of a warning. Meaning that if something was impending harm to the Muslims, they would call the adhan to alert them and say, hey, look, there's some impending harm to you, right? To gather the people, right? That was
no light matter.
Yeah.
It's no light matter, and people can't underestimate or take this lightly in any way, because these are steps that are following a pattern. They're not isolated. This has been an initiative since Mohammed bin Salman has consolidated power and taken away power from the other interests within his country. People like Walid bin Talal and other people, other business leaders who usually keep a check. They're almost like a checks and balances system that's usually happening between the leadership of a country and the actual stakeholders, where the money is essentially in a country. So there's always this balance. So not only has he taken a page out of people like Putin, who did the same by imprisoning business leaders and stuff, and making sure that no one has to say except him. So he kind of consolidated power, but then also implemented a whole lot of initiatives set to take away the influence or take away the Islamic color from the country, and kind of just make it or localize it just to Mecca and Medina, and say, oh, well, we're going to institute new policies around Mecca and Medina so that the money still is coming in from other Muslim nations and visitors who are coming to visit Mecca and Medina, but the other regions of the country will still be primarily for Western audiences, Western money.
And I think that would be more, a better decision. I'm not supporting that either, but I'm saying that would be the better option. But there's other things that are problematic here. For example, moving along, like the whole idea of not being able to broadcast the Salah, right? I don't see why, like, that particularly would be such a big issue, right? The Salah is what people generally, and some of these masajids, right, like some of the Qurra became famous because these things were broadcasted, right? Like, they were started off in smaller masajids around the area, and people would discover them and say, wow, right? And just for the general benefit of people, like more people hearing the Quran, how could that be a bad thing, right? But number three, what's more troubling is that I think the fundraising, I can understand why that may be, because is maybe for security reasons they don't want to know, like, maybe where the money is coming from and where it's being collected, because it's not like masajid over there have like a 501c. I don't know how they operate there, but it may be difficult to worry about money laundering. Maybe, I don't know, I don't know, but I can see the perspective they're saying, but even that doesn't make sense to me, like, because a lot of these masajid are funded by people that are known to the community anyways, or by the kingdom itself, right? So it's a little odd that would happen.
Yeah, look, and we're not trying to make any kind of excuse for oppressors. Look, we try to be balanced here in the sense that we're trying to critically evaluate the actual facts. Yeah, and we're just not able to make sense of any of these policies, especially in regards to things like itikaf. Who the hell is itikaf wording?
Yeah, I think it's not, you won't be able to do i'tikaf, but you'll have to have identification.
Yes,
and with that part, I don't know if I necessarily disagree with that, and I'll tell you why. Because as they're opening this up to non-Muslims in the country, you don't want a bunch of non-Muslims just hanging out in the masjid, right? Like,
I don't think they care about non-Muslims.
Then why would? What do you think they're going to do it for? Like,
I think
see who's being religious.
I think it's just to keep track on people who are state surveillance. You're building an apparatus of state surveillance. You're finding out new vehicles to track people's movements. They've already done this even in the entertainment avenues. It's not even just with the religious stuff. Like, for example, they've set up this this app on your phone where you have to register before you go to see any kind of site within the kingdom.
Yeah.
So if you want to visit some garden, if you want to visit any place, you have to register, even if the whole place is empty.
Yeah, you're
right.
You're
registering a spot.
So you're right. Well, they've consolidated a lot of different things. Like, for example, it's not just events. Like, let's say you want to sell your car or you want to renew your license, right? You can do everything from the Injaz app. Like, you can do it right from the app. No, that's not called Injaz. There's a new app for I forgot what it's called. Yeah. Anyways, there's an app that they have internally that you can do all your stuff on, like sell your car, hold titles, do all this work, and they do it in the name of automation. But with this regards, I'm sure they include like tracking here as well too, because I know they have this new bracelet system. Like when you go for, they're trying to implement this new bracelet system when you go for Hajj or Umrah, so they can kind of track you and have your information, see if you are going absconding or whatever, that kind of stuff. So tracking isn't necessarily new to them. Definitely there's surveillance happening, absolutely. But I just wonder why it would happen at...
So there's one app called the Kulana Amin app.
Kulana Amin, okay.
Kulana Amin.
Yeah.
A government app that lets citizens alert authorities to everyday incidents like road accidents and or suspicious behavior. Yeah. So I think that's the app you were talking about.
No. There's a different app where you can actually... Like you can renew licenses and do like official government, like let's say you sell a home, you can put money transfer through the application into like an escrow, and then when the title clears, you can change the name, everything from there, and take money from it. It's a whole automation thing. You don't have to go to like a DMV anymore or a passport office. You can do all of it from an application.
Yeah. So basically, they're setting up infrastructure in the name of public service and stuff, but these are all apps that are used to track your movements and your activities and what your day-to-day life is.
That's certainly a trade-off, right? Because they're collecting information on any app, right? So people are willing to provide information to use this application, which they're going to have to use eventually anyway. So you're right, there is surveillance. But I'm still trying to understand, like, why would they want to just track who is going to I'tikaf? Why not just track anyone who's going to the Haram?
You have to set up the infrastructure for that, right? You want to have an app for every movement, every activity that you're doing, so that everything that all your movements are tracked. It's not just that.
Abshir is the app. Sorry, Abshir is the app. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Zul. You remember? Yeah.
In extremely scary times in Saudi Arabia. We have to hope and pray that Allah Subhanahu wa Taala removes this level of surveillance, this level of oppression that is soon to come on to normal Saudi citizens, many of whom I've spoken to personally are incredibly terrified, and they take so much precaution just talking to me online, and I don't blame them at all. Like, this has to be done. And
there's also the thing on here, like the whole idea of children not being allowed to the masjid. Like, this is really, like, I think that's the most troubling part to me of it all.
Oh, yeah, that's incredibly puzzling.
Because that's, like, growing up, going to the haram, like, all the time, every year we go.
Yeah.
Like, it was just something that was, like, it's part of your tarbiyah. Like, going and there's memories, there's moments that build that bond. Like, even now, that's what keeps me, like, oh, I got to go back this year because, like, I miss it. Like, it's
some of my earliest memories are watching my little brother in a little cradle, and while my parents would pray in Taraweeh and stuff, and it's just amazing, like, how you could prohibit children from coming to the mosque.
I mean, unless you're trying to, I mean, what would be, like, it's not for space. Is it for noise? I mean, there's so much noise that happens. I don't know. Is it just for the haram or is it for all the masajids? I don't know.
For all the mosques.
Because I know there's some masajids in America that say don't bring your children for Taraweeh, right? Like, they'll say that stuff. You know what I mean? Because unfortunately they get really rowdy and, but I don't know if that's the same problem they're having there. I don't know. Because, I mean, it's not really, I'm not, like, I know, I'm trying to be fair here because I know there are some masajids in America here that do that. They'll say, hey, no children at Taraweeh. No one under the age of, 12 at Taraweeh.
So someone actually translated the actual guidelines.
I didn't even see it.
Let me send it out. Here we go. Yeah, so it's kind of small print. I don't know if you guys are watching this on TV, but
can you just click it and then hold it, click and then scroll your wheel up on the mouse so you can zoom it in?
yeah, I'm trying.
How about you just click the picture? Can you do that?
Oop.
Just click the picture. It might blow it up. No? Oh, what you can do maybe is right-click it and copy the image location and then open it in a separate tab. It might make it bigger.
Yeah,
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I mean, someone did mention a good point in the text that there's many Arab countries that have non-Muslim tourists and they don't have this problem hanging around in the mosque for i'tikaf. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what that is, but again, you know, I'm trying to rationalize. I don't know. Maybe they have a problem with people who are dodgy that are coming there, and they want to for security because it is a high stake area. Allahu alam. I don't know what that could be done. I mean, I'm trying to understand here. I don't know. I'm not saying I'm justifying it, but I'm just trying to understand the rationale. It doesn't make. You know that meme can't compute.
That's what's happening. Does not compute.
Yeah, it does not compute. Like I'm not understanding what. You know what the intention is here to do that. Were you able to right click and copy it?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm just creating the scene real quick.
Oh, got it. No problem. Okay. Yeah. So I'll just continue here. So yeah, I mean, just things like that, like even little things like not being able to feed people. Like I understand not eating in the masjid because that can be a kind of a burden, but not being able to set up something outside the masjid and to feed the people that are fasting. I don't know what that would. I mean, don't you want to encourage? Because you have an app called Kilana Amen, which is like everyone helping each other report crime. Don't you want to help people who are poor in the community eat? Like wouldn't that be also Amen and like having security?
Yeah.
And having safety? I don't know.
Here we go.
There you go. Nice.
Okay.
All right. Let's switch to the. Cut it over, boss. So let me see if it comes up big on my screen.
Yeah, a second right here. It's small over there. 1 sec. I'm just making it. All right. Here we go. All right. His Excellency, the Minister of Islamic Affairs, Dawah and Guidance, Sheikh Dr. Abdul Latif bin Abdul Aziz Al Sheikh, directed all branches and sectors of the ministry to work on the following. First, emphasis on imams and muezzin on the following: full regularity in their work. No absenteeism in the holy month of Ramadan unless absolutely necessary. MashaAllah. After assigning the person performing the work for the period of absence, this mandate shall be with the approval of the ministry's branch in the region, and the one on behalf has undertaken not to breach the responsibility. Absence shall not exceed the allowable period. Adherence to al-Qura calendar. Emphasis on raising the adhan, call for prayer of the Isha prayer in Ramadan, and the Iqama performance of prayers according to the approved period for each prayer. Taking into account people's conditions in Tarawih prayers, the completion of the Hajj prayers in the last 10 days of Ramadan with enough time before Fajr Adhan so it won't be a hardship on the worshippers. Abiding by the Prophet's guidance in Qunut Dua, supplication at Tarawih prayer, and non-prolongation, and being limited to Jawami Dua and the Sahih supplications, and avoid hymns and intonation. The importance of reading some useful books on the mosque group according to circulars which regulate that. Adherence to the directives issued regarding the controls for installing cameras in mosques, not using them to photograph
the imam and worshippers. Doing performance of the prayers and not transmitting the prayers or broadcasting them in the media of all kinds.
Not collecting financial donations.
That the imam be responsible for authorizing the i'tikaf, verifying there are no violations from them, knowing the data of the i'tikaf, and requesting the approval of the sponsor approved for non-Saudis according to directives notified in advance regarding the i'tikaf controls. Not collecting financial donations for projects to iftar the fast. Bad translation, right?
Yeah.
Donations for projects, or I think maybe iftar the fast and others. Okay, iftar for the fasting people, if any, should be in places prepared that for that in the courtyards of the mosque and under the responsibility of the imam and the muezzin, and that the one responsible for iftar, the fast for the fasting person, should clean the place immediately after finishing the iftar, and not create any temporary rooms or tents and like to hold the iftar in them. He urged worshippers not to accompany children, as this would disturb worshippers to cause them to lose their reverence. So it seems like maybe it was not as as what he was describing, but I mean, it's certainly not the food part. So you can do food, but you got to clean up. So again, there's certainly still some language that is.
Yeah, there's some more to it.
Okay.
Apparently, the branches of the ministry direct the servants of the mosque and maintenance institutions to redouble their efforts and work for the cleanliness and preparation of mosques, and to ensure the cleanliness of women prayer rooms in mosques.
Female power.
Yeah, woman. Hashtag International Women's Day.
Yeah.
Mashallah, Mubarak to you, more. And to any any clean shaven Muslim men.
Oh, well, I just want to know when International Women's Day is over, because I'm hungry now, so they can go back to the kitchen.
Oh.
That was good anyways.
Yeah. International. Third, the observers should follow up on the implementation of these directives, submit daily reports on their tours to their references, and a statement of observations monitored, if any, in order to process them immediately. This is such a bad translation. But yeah, there we have it.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think that it's not as like the wording that the journalist reported.
Well, no, I don't think that's entirely what. This is just a supplementary piece. The journalist itself, he has other pieces of.
I think it was taken from the official release.
That wasn't the entire thing, dude. That wasn't the entire piece where he extracted his news report from. Yeah,
but I mean, for example, it didn't say you can't feed them at all.
No, I don't think that's where he got that or extracted that.
I believe because it was he said the Saudi government has released their guidelines, right, and that's the guideline they're releasing. So that was the thing. I don't think he has inside information to like inner workings of the government, but I think it was the official release that they put out, and that was just translated into English. Right? So. Yeah, Anissa, I do. I actually tell my mother when I go visit her that I'm hungry. Please make me some food. I actually do that, and she loves to cook for me, actually. So, alhamdulillah, lucky for me. I got a good mom. But anywho, yeah, I mean, again, whether he's, I don't know we don't know what the exact truth is here, but it seems like what we read here is not exactly everything that he was talking about. Maybe it could be a different document that he read, but this one seems to be much more toned down compared to what he had said.
Yeah, unless he, I don't understand where he extracted no loudspeakers or broadcasts of prayers.
I think that came in the idea of not being the photographing equipment and not allowing people to set up independently.
Yeah.
So I guess, well, here's the condition, here's the clause, that you have to get approval from the imam and the muezzin, but they're also governed by the council. So ultimately, the council or the kingdom can decide if you are allowed to do it or not.
Yeah.
Right? Which, if they have an agenda, then it could end up being that, we're just granting mass denials, right, of permission. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you may be like a lot of red tape, like what are your credentials, who are you streaming for, what are your background, right? It can be made very difficult to also obtain that, right?
Yeah.
So maybe he's implying that that's just a cover up to say, hey, we're not really going to be allowing you to do it. I don't know if that's his intention of maybe his assumption.
Yeah, I mean, Dr. Shadi also commented on it. He shared it. He said...
But I think he shared this guy, though.
He shared this guy, but he's saying that I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he said that he doesn't see. I don't see much of any of it except lowering the volume on the adhan. But
I mean, we'll look forward into it. I mean, we'll look more. I mean, it's definitely worth looking into. I mean, because these are pretty damning allegations, right? Especially the wording that this journalists use are. I mean, it's something that would shock anybody, right? If you say, "Hey, we don't want the adhan being called. We don't want you to feed the Hajjaj. We don't want you to fundraise. We don't want you to bring your kids."
One of the most beautiful. If anyone's been to the Haramain during Ramadan, it's one of the most beautiful experiences. Actually, just around the Muslim world, when you are fasting and about to break your prayer, people are handing out food.
Oh, Medina? It's the greatest part of being in Masjid Nabawi, bro.
Yeah, you're just sitting in Masjid Nabawi eating with everyone. So, I mean, I really hope it's not true. I really hope this journalist was wrong, but...
I think they're going to be excluding the Haramain. I think the two areas, I think they're going to exclude that because I think it seems to be I think these might be... It seems to me these are going to be passed down to other smaller masajids around, like not the major ones, right? So Allahu Alam. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we'll have to look, and I'm gonna reach out to some of my Saudi contacts and see what's actually going on, and see if I can get some more information. But nonetheless, it is something to look into at least to see what's going on. We're just trying to talk about it here. So if anyone else has more insight.
Yeah, some people in the Twitter comments for this Sami guy, they're saying that he's mistranslating, that he's not accurately reporting. So it's worth looking into, I guess, at the end of it, because
at least I'm glad we went through that, though. So we know that, hey, because we're trying to, because at the service level, I'm trying to make sense. I'm like, why would you be so brazen about something like this? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, that's the worst possible way you could say something that, even if that was an agenda, right? It would be the worst possible way to, like, make it known, right? Like, don't bring your kids, don't feed people, cut the adhan off, right? Like, it would be the worst thing to say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this is what I was saying, like, going back to what I was saying about this reporter, right? Like, he adds some of his own flair to it, which can be problematic, right? Like, I don't want to say he's lying, but it can, mislead people to something that's bigger.
Look, again, we're not our show is not an MBS fanboy show, but we want to report accurate things, and especially when we're talking about this, we're kind of fleshing through these ideas as we're talking to you about it, because we don't talk throughout the day about these things, and we're just kind of going back and forth with each other and like, wait a second, I don't think this adds up.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out right here, right now. Like, we're hoping. And by the way, if anyone has any more idea about this, man, the StreamYard link is right there. If anyone is on TikTok and you want to jump on, just
if you're in Saudi Arabia, hop on. We won't show your face. If you're in Saudi Arabia and you want to hop on, we won't show your face. We'll conceal your identity and put you in the witness protection program and all that. Conceal the names.
We'll get you an American a wife to marry so you can migrate here.
That's a smart idea. if they want to marry you.
Yeah, if they want to marry you, because we're not in the business of forcing women to get married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see your phone is still tipping over. I got you. I bought some new cell phone stands.
Okay, because we brought a bunch of. I brought one, but it just didn't work out well for us.
No, I bought a good one that can hold the weight of this ridiculous iPhone.
No, it's the suction that doesn't hold.
You don't know. You just need a large enough thing that can hold the
thing, huh?
Hold cradle.
Right. Got it. Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
Appreciate that, sir. I think journalists is reading into MBS's other policies and Vision 2030 into these new rules. It could be Yahubi. I don't know. I mean, it could be. Again, like I said, as long as we're being as accurate as possible, that's what we want, right? We don't want misinformation on either side, right? Like we want to be as accurate as we can be, because part of our job as Muslims is to speak the truth, whatever it is, right? Whether we like somebody, whether we don't like somebody. And so we're just trying to figure it out here. But if anybody has any more insight and you guys know what's going on with these new policies, and perhaps the translation that we read was a bad one, if you have a better one to offer or some more information, please do join on the StreamYard link for those of you on YouTube, and for those of you that are on TikTok, make sure that you guys can request and jump on. By the way, quick announcement for people on TikTok. This is not a podcast about the Mamelukes. For some people are new to us on TikTok. We're actually a Muslim podcast and we talk about all kinds of things. So we're called the Mad Mamelukes. If you want to know why we are, you can go back to earlier episodes on youtube.com and figure out why we're called the Mamelukes. But it is a Muslim podcast talking about Muslim issues. So yeah. Anyways, go ahead. Next subject.
Next subject is let's see here. It's gonna come up. I thought you were going to be talking for a little bit longer. 1 second.
Yeah, sure. Anyways, I see a lot of people, 44 people on YouTube and a few people on TikTok here. Make sure you guys hit the like button, guys, because sometimes we get the likes later on and then the likes afterwards help the video. But if you can like them right now so people can see the video and share it if you can. Like put it on your Twitter, your YouTube, post it everywhere you can so, it'll help us greatly. We appreciate it. Because obviously, we don't really get paid from this. We don't do anything. It's all out of Sim's generosity. By the way, Sim has spent a lot of donation money that we got, alhamdulillah, for some of these new cameras. If you watch the latest episode that we did, or they did actually with the Ta'leef Collective Initiative guys, the camera qualities were superb. I was really impressed. We were looking at it earlier today. And it came out very, very good. So barakallahu feekum to everyone that donated. I don't want to announce any names because I don't know if we have their permission to do so, but we had some serious contributors that really did help out and come through. So
yeah, so much appreciation for everyone, no matter what tier of donors you are, anyone who's been even regularly donating $3 a month. From the bottom of my heart and everyone here at the Mad Book, so much thank you to each and every tier. We've finally gotten cameras that can rival any other YouTube channel that is out there, and hopefully we want to make a podcast that you, the listener, is proud of, that you have your own equivalent, that we Muslims have the equivalent of any podcast that the non-Muslim world has for fleshing out their ideas and having interesting conversations with up-and-comers or even established people. This is what the show is about, fleshing through ideas, talking about news and current events. And one of those people is one of our guests we've had in the past, and that's our friend Mahdi Tijani, who put up a very interesting post, let's just say. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys now about it. Oh, here he is.
Good old Mahdi.
MashaAllah, what a chiseled body there, Mahdi. MashaAllah.
Yeah,
on point.
That looks to be an 8-pack, to be honest. It's going all the way up.
So he's got, his wives, apparently, who are touching his belly button, covering up his aura, and he has under the captions. So for those of you who are watching or listening on the podcast, audio only, he's got his shirt off. He's got two women who are wearing abaya, who are not
fully covered, by the way, niqab and everything.
Fully covered, facing the opposite direction, and
they're facing the right direction. You can't see their face.
Are they? I thought they were looking the other way.
No, it's drawn over their faces. It's full niqab.
Oh, because look, their hands are hands are like this. Look, their hands are covering each other.
They're holding them like this, bro. They're facing and holding them like this. Trust me, bro.
Really?
Yes. You don't put your hand on a shoulder of someone like they're sitting behind you. You don't do that. Trust me, they're facing forward.
But how come they don't have holes in their eyes so that they can see?
They have a type of niqab that's completely covered in the front. Trust me, bro.
I disagree. But we'll what's that called? Room for interpretation.
Yeah.
Ikhtilaf in this issue. There's ikhtilaf on this matter.
Yeah.
I say that they're facing the opposite.
We'll just ask him after the show.
Yeah. So anyway, this has prompted the ire of a great deal of Muslims, saying essentially that he is using his wives as props. He is essentially, doing kind of like almost like kind of glorifying himself. I'm trying to make sense of some of the criticism, but apparently they're saying that this is not the correct way to use your wives in your pictures, or you're promoting yourself as an influencer.
Is that a rant about him?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
a rant about it. I'm not going to share that. But
so I think what's important to show here, maybe we can go to like the tweet where he talks about what he's saying there.
Yeah,
I think that's the really important part. Let me see if I can pull that up.
Yeah, see if you could pull that up, because my Instagram's not working.
Okay, well, it wasn't. I have it on. I think it was on Twitter, or I don't know. Hold on. Let me just. So yeah.
Oh wait, here we go.
I think I found it here. 1 second. Here, let me just pull it up. Because some people have been commenting on this issue, and they're extremely troubled by it. And so, right, here we go. So, let me see if I can just paste this to you, Sim, while I pull this up. Here we go. Okay, so it says there are 3 types of people who process this picture. This is, number 1, this is fake. Number 2, well, he's just rich / famous / muscly and fill in the blank. Number 3, Mahdi's no better than me. How can I pull this off? This message is for those who picked 3. You're right. I am no better than you. Sure, I'm in shape and that helps. Sure, I'm muscly and that helps. But you know better than me, there's plenty of tall, in shape, high status, wealthy, and muscly brothers on this reality TV dating shows that are useless with one woman, never mind multiple women. Bro, I'm not even rich, LOL. In fact, that's one of my biggest flexes. What I do have is an ocean-deep understanding of female psychology, power dynamics, and passion traps built over 17 years of marriage and study. All I want to do is share it with you so you can conquer more important things in life than worrying over women. And people have been very, some women obviously disgusted by it. Some men are saying, they're he's GOAT and he's based. And some other men are saying that he's a youth and shame this guy and that he's posting his wives.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on this whole thing?
Look, I've been trying to make sense of it. Like, people are saying, like, how would you, like, trying to frame it this way, that what if you had a daughter and her husband was a man like Mahdi who was using her as a prop for Instagram, like this? How would you feel? Now, my criteria of a man for my daughters is that he's a God-fearing man, okay? That he fears God more than anything, like more than his wealth and anything, that he has the fear of Allah in him. That he's going to, no matter how much things go bad in the marriage, that he wants to do justice by her. He wants to do right by her no matter what. And he will do everything to preserve the sanctity and preserve the marriage, in effect, and treat her with justice, give her rights, etc. Right? Mm-hmm. I feel that is the mechanism that propels someone to treat my daughter with justice. Now, this picture doesn't demonstrate my characteristics for what I want for my daughter. Mm-hmm. It doesn't tell me that Mahdi doesn't fear God. Mm-hmm. It tells me maybe that he's promoting, he's using, he knows that this is going to cause a lot of controversy, and it's going to draw a lot of attention towards what he's doing. He's got a business that he's supporting, and he's got all these clientele and etc. And he knows this kind of a picture will create a lot of buzz. So he made sure to make sure his aura is covered. He's not showing his wives' faces or anything. And he effectively created the buzz and generated talk around it. And but would I be upset if my daughter was used in a prop like that? I don't know. Like, I don't know. It depends on the guy itself, right? Like, if the guy is genuinely has the fear of Allah, he's on the deen, mm-hmm. he's treating my daughter right, hey, what, however they want to handle the relationship is up to them.
Yeah.
Now there's other people who are saying that this is no proper wali would give their daughter to this man.
So I think it's like you said. There's a lot of nuances here. First of all, what if his wives are in this business with him, right? And this is them promoting the business. First of all, I think what the important thing is that everybody's aura is covered. Yeah. Right, and actually, these two sisters are probably more covered than most women out there. Like you can't identify any one of them. You can't see their hand. You can't see their face. You can't see anything about them. I mean, besides like a small thing around the waist, right? But other than that, the faces are covered. There's no way it would be impossible to identify who these people are. So their wives are covered to that extent. Now, if it's something that, as far as him being using, is this dayatha? Like, is this meaning that he's allowing men to look at his wives? Absolutely not. For people that are calling him a dayuth, I think you're crossing the line, because obviously, let's be honest here, his wives are probably more covered than most of the women around you, right? It's just the fact, right? And so dayatha would be like making them pose in like some outfit in front of people with him, and in a provocative pose or something like that, whatever, showing their shape, something like this, right? Where people, looking at that picture, you don't know how tall they are, how big they are, what they look, what color they are, what background they are. You know nothing about them. It could be two daughters for all you know. You don't know who they are.
Look, for me personally, that's not the kind of relationship I would have with my wife, where I'm posting pictures of myself, whether she's in full niqab or not. I don't put pictures of me and my wife out there. I don't want that kind of attention.
So let me ask you this then, just to be devil's advocate. Like, there was an episode where you introduced her to the world.
Right, that's true.
So would people say you're just putting a prop for the Random Lukes?
That's true. Again, same logic applies, right?
Yeah. What is your intention?
Yeah. What is my intention?
Right.
Now, his intention is to take a controversial or a picture that would create or a lot of buzz around. I'm sure he's had this picture in his mind for a long time. He was just, at least for a few months ago, I think he was married to only one wife, and he must have married a second wife recently. So he's probably had this image like, hey, I can't wait to do this, because this is going to create a whole lot of buzz. He's a hype man. He knows how to use the right buzzwords.
I don't see a problem with that, though. Like for example, when Abu American had his wife tying his shoes. Yeah. Right. Is that dayatha? No, not to me. People didn't say you're the youth for showing your wife tying your boots. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not like. For example, let's say he was walking in the beach enjoying a day with both of his wives. Would people call him a dayuth for that? His wives are covered. He's wearing his outer's covered. Yeah. Right? Like, would they be calling him a dayuth in that case? I don't know. Yeah. Right? Now, one could argue, hey, why are you putting him out there for just for marketing purposes? Well, then in that case, we're gonna have to check everybody's intention on YouTube. Your titles, your clickbait,
everything, right? Thumbnails. Everything gets under, because once you follow that trajectory, you have to apply that same level of reasoning and logic to everything, and that's where that's why I tend to avoid all this kind of stuff, because when you throw stones at someone's house, their glass house, your house is well made of glass. Yeah. You end up finding out, because the same logic can fire right back at you. And what's his name? Bilal Abdul Karim, famous journalist from out of Syria, former guest of ours. He had a picture on Facebook where he ended up going late to his second wife's house, and she tore his shirt out of anger. And he posted a picture of himself with a torn shirt, with his big ripply muscles, showing through the torn shirt. Like, hey, never be late to your second wife's visit, and kind of, and there are people who are upset about that.
Let's be honest, right? For some guys, this is humorous, right? Like, oh, dude, he's like, he's got two wives, and I think that for here's the thing. I think, call it guerrilla marketing, whatever, right? Yeah. But I think when you read the context, he's saying, listen, there's nothing special about me. I just have some more information about women that helps me be in this position, right? And I can teach you that, right? Like he's saying at the end that, sure, I might have muscles that might help. Sure, I might be, in shape or whatever it is. I don't know what he said or whatever. But saying I don't have any money, but I do understand women, and that's what helps me keep 2 women around me, right? And just lovingly towards me, like they're not fighting each other, right? Because obviously when you see that picture, you're like, whoa. Usually, like you would think that co-wives hate each other, right? They want nothing to do to be around each other, right?
By the way, his caption is right. I mean, at least in terms of the messaging, that you don't need to have that kind of body. Yeah, what he's trying to at least demonstrate from the language underneath the caption is that it's a mindset thing. It's not about your muscles. It's not about your money.
Yeah.
It's about who you are and how you build yourself. And that's what he's at least trying to build in much of his clientele.
Yeah.
A mindset of leadership, of manhood, of not. And he's not saying manhood means muscles. He's not saying wealth is going to bring you a woman as well. But he wanted to show that, hey, look, I have this, but this is not what you need to become the man you should or want or aspire to be, or that you should aspire to be.
And I think to some degree too, like, I mean, call it what you want to call it. He calls it, passion traps and all this stuff, whatever. But in simple language, what he's saying is he understands the language that women speak, right? And that's something the Prophet ﷺ would do to his wives. Like certain things he would do, like, for example, when his wife would drink from a particular area in the glass, he would make sure to put his lips on the same spot to show that how he's drawing closer to her, right? Like things like that. Or when he would greet them, he would grab them by the elbows to bring them closer rather than the hands, right? These are certain languages and things that the Prophet would implement to show mawaddah and closeness to his wives, right? You can call it thirst trap or whatever, I don't know, whatever terms he uses, right? Like psychology, whatever it is. But there's a degree of understanding that you have to have of women in order to be able to make them feel emotionally satisfied, right? A lot of times women, maybe some of the women who are complaining about this misogyny, they oftentimes also complain that men don't take enough time to understand women, right? And understand the psychology of women. It just so happens that maybe he understands it very well and he's able to please more than one woman.
My criticism to Mahdi is not actually in the same conversation that many of these people are having. I am suggesting he's inviting Ayn and he should delete this. Because there's many people are jealous. Many people are in unhappy weddings. They're unhappy with their body, the way they look. And when you put pictures of yourself in such a what many people see as a luxury, where you have 2 wives and you're able to support, you have such a huge following and beautiful body, etc. You're inviting a lot of ain, and this is something that every influencer needs to be aware of, that when you draw attention to yourself, and this affects people's lives. It destroys marriages. This is
I mean, I personally wouldn't
really
do that,
hurt you.
right?
I wouldn't.
I like to keep everything private, just for that sec. I mean, for family life, like that should be just private, just because of the fact that there is hasad and ayn, right? Like there's it is what it is. But I mean, again, I know people are going to disagree with things, but like I think to go forward and calling him a dayuth, like that has to be some implications, right? Meaning like he has to be. Like they have to be a certain degree of nakedness, or mentioning something about their qualities, or showing something about, like mentioning something about their intimacy between each other. Like these are qualities of dayatha, like where you actually start describing your wife to somebody, or saying what you guys do in bed together with someone, or letting her walk around uncovered in front of somebody. These kinds of things, like that would be like dayatha to me, right? I mean, all right. So ayn, basically, Muhammad Ahmad, is basically evil eye, right? Ayn can be done by someone who intentionally or unintentionally, right? Or there could be hasad, which is envy, right? Which could be done by unintentionally or intentionally as well too. But we know that these things are real, right? And so the more you put out there, the more that people see of your life, the more you may have to deal with that, or inviting that to your life, right? So sometimes people will advise you not to put too much up or speak too much about yourself, because you don't want people to to even unintentionally give you what we call quote unquote bad vibes, like either evil eye or jealousy, right? So that's pretty much what Sim is arguing, and I think it's a fair point, right? I mean, you have to be prepared for the consequences if you're willing to bring your personal life out in the open like that, and especially when you have something that many people probably do want, right? Like let's just say your health, or maybe a certain kind of look that you have, right? Or maybe being married, forget about just 2 wives, but just being married in general, right? That may be something that some people, you know, really, really want, and they're jealous over it, right? So there's things you have to be...
Maybe you should take the precautionary, the Turkish emoji, you know, for that protects you, the amulet.
That's haram, bro.
That's haram? Oh,
darn it. They're amulets, bro. You can't do that.
Oh, someone wants to join the chat. Let's see here. Aladdin, welcome to the show.
Assalamu alaikum wa
rahmatullahi.
I hope that you still remember me from the last time.
Okay, of course. Brother, good. Yeah, remember there's other people who are going to want to talk too. So let's just keep the commentary short. Inshallah.
Okay. First of all, Ya Akhi Kareem, with all due respect to both of you, especially to the brother who said that he doesn't want to call him master. Actually, I don't know the person. I never seen him before, and I'm not interested to know who is he. Now, I'll ask the brother with all due respect to you, Akhi Kareem, my beloved brother, will you do the same act in your Twitter or your Facebook, and why?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't personally show anyone in my family online.
Why?
Oh, because this is my honor. I mean, it's just
no.
And I don't
I'm asking you why. Be honest. We as a Muslims, always our source is Quran and Sunnah. Now, do you think according to Quran and Sunnah, such person, what he did, is correct or wrong?
Honestly, wallahi, I tell you something. If his wives are covered and no one can see anything on them, their auras are covered.
Brother, I'm not talking about the wives. Have you seen it? Have you seen his picture? His aura is above the surah.
No, his belly button is covered, Yakhi.
Let me finish it, please. And his sister, no. The two ladies covering it with their hands. So man going half naked, showing his muscles, body, with two ladies wearing niqabi, hugging him. I consider this as an insult for a niqabi woman. Subhanallah. Because you never see any respect for niqabi woman who will do this on social media, even with her own husband. Because that's against the Islamic teachings. That's not what Islam is teaching us. Islam is teaching us hishma. You know what is hishma? I don't know how to say that in English. To be respectful. Muhsanatu min al-nisa. There is no muhsana who will do such an act in social media just to attract others so he can maybe get some more likes or attention. That's haram, ya akhi in Islam. That is haram. There's nowhere in Quran and Sunnah allow this. Barakallah fiqh.
Yeah. All right. Jazakallah khair. No, I mean, I definitely get the opinion that people have on this.
Number two, if you allow me to say that, you know what is the definition of dayus according to the Arabic dictionary? Dayus is a person who doesn't feel jealous of his wife. Dayus is a person who doesn't have haya. He has no shame whatsoever. Yeah. So what he's doing is against haya. Yeah. This is not haya. Is this haya for you? This is not haya.
The way I look at it is like this.
And Prophet Muhammad says the three do not enter paradise. The youth is one of those people who will never look at them on the day of judgment.
So where exactly is he falling out of haya? Because his wives are covered.
Ya akhi, he's going half naked.
Yeah, but his wives are covered though. His wives are covered. His aura is covered.
Okay, akhi, will you do this with your wife?
No, I wouldn't. That's not the nature of my relationship with my wife. Why? It's just I wouldn't even show a picture of me and my wife holding hands. That's how careful I am, because I don't like to invite into my relationship.
You and your wife holding hands, very good.
We don't even do that much.
You and your wife holding hands, alhamdulillah. That hishma, when you and your wife holding hands, that's hishma, alhamdulillah. She's your halal, your wife. But will you go out with your wife in such pictures? Your body have body a bird and she's hugging you. Will you do that?
No, of course not.
But let me ask you.
That's my relationship, but that doesn't make it haram, though. You can't use that as a ruling to make something haram, akhi.
Yeah, I'm saying, like, what if they were at the beach together, the family, and they had this, he was with his outers covered? Because I don't know if his outers are actually uncovered, because the hands are covering. He may have a garment that's higher. I don't know. But I'm saying is that, what if they were at the beach and he's taking a family picture with his wife at the beach, and this is, a lot of people they have their outer covered, and the wife is fully covered. Is this the yatha? I don't know.
Look, bro, akhi, I'll make an argument for you. And I think it would be better if you stated this way. maybe you say that this is in poor taste. It doesn't have class, you know. It doesn't.
Yeah, I agree.
It doesn't have nobility of a Muslim and his the relationship with his wife. That I would, you know, you know what? That's a valid
100%
understanding,
agree. Yeah.
brother Ala, that you brought to the conversation. But when you start making halal and haram, that's you need some clear evidence behind that, you know. But to me right now it looks like it's you know, promotional material, because he's a businessman who is promoting a business, a marriage app, etc., coaching and many different type of services towards young Muslim men. You know, that is his thing in that regard, and he's promoting a business model and wants conversation to be around him, which it effectively generated, because we're over here talking about him, and that's what it's doing. I don't know if it's haram though. You know, I will give you this much. If you say, you know what, Mad Mamluk guys, this is in poor taste, I think we should all be staying away from this kind of thing. I think it's in poor taste that many Instagram hijabi models and many other people who are on the female side of things, they are showing very revealing pictures on Instagram, and that is in poor taste as well. So you know, sometimes it doesn't necessarily make something haram, but it is something that is in poor taste, where, you know, a woman is beautifying herself, and you know, even though she's trying to promote something halal by putting on beautiful garments of hijab and stuff, but putting it on display for the world to see her charms and her beauty, that itself is very problematic, you know.
Okay, brother, if you don't mind, I'll just read you some verses from the Holy Quran, inshallah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah An-Nur, chapter, what's the number? Verse 30 and 31. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ يغضوا من أبصارهم ويحفظوا فروجهم ذلك أزكى لهم إن الله خبير بما يصنعون وقل للمؤمنات يغضضن من أبصارهن ويحفظن فروجهن ولا يبدين زينتهن إلا ما ظهر منها. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says again in Surah Al-Ahzab, verse 59, يا أيها النبي قل لأزواجك وبناتك ونساء المؤمنين يدنين عليهن من جلابيبهن ذلك أدنى أن يعرفن فلا يؤذين وكان الله غفورا رحيما. And Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says in hadith sahih, I think the hadith, المرأة عورة فإذا خرجت يستشرفها الشيطان وإنها لتكون أقرب إلى الله منها في قعر بيتها. So that's what our beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said about women, and that's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave ruling for the women. So if you want to talk about women in Islam, you have to base this discussion and these pictures according to the rulings of Allah and about the beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if that's allowed or not. Then you would decide for yourself. That's the best I can say. جزاك الله خير.
جزاك الله خير. بارك الله فيك.
بارك الله فيك.
بارك الله فيك أخي.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. No, we appreciate the words. The only reason why I'm reluctant to call them with the youth is because of the hadith, right? Where it says, ثَلَاثَةٌ قَدْ حَرَّمَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمُ الْجَنَّةِ. One of the three people who are forbidden Jannah of these categories are the youth. One of them is the youth, the one who, you know, who's addicted to alcohol. The other one is for the one who disobeys his parents. And the third is the youth. Like if he's the youth, then Jannah is haram for him. So I don't want to make it, I'm not a scholar and an alim, I don't want to do that. But I understand the point you're making. I think Sim made a great point. I think as a Muslim man, just out of avoiding any shubahat around my character or around my wife's character or around my family or inviting hasad or ayn, for many reasons, I personally wouldn't put a picture like this up, right?
Yeah, I mean, imagine like your this is eventually, inshallah, you would want to have children with your wives, and this is going on the internet, and you know your children are going to see this. Like, my parents are like, you know, these.
It's cringe.
They're putting up on a display for the world to see. So in that sense, I could see, you know, the problematic nature of a picture like that. But to say that it's haram, that he's a dayut, that's you know, way crossing the line.
I personally wouldn't feel, just as I wouldn't feel comfortable saying that he's a youth, I wouldn't feel comfortable having this picture up. But again, the key point to mention here is that not everything that is halal for you to do is always wise to do.
Right.
Right?
100%.
So it doesn't mean that just because it's halal that you can, I mean, it's the smart thing to do. Right? Because, there's things about, the certain, as a Muslim, you have a certain duty to uphold the values of Islam, the general values, right?
Yeah.
Meaning that we have, respect for women, we have respect for our family bonds, we have, relationships between husband and wife, our family nature, the idea of upholding ideas of modesty. And that also includes, not giving people insight into what maybe perhaps your marital life looks like, right? Like things like this that you want to be careful about, right?
Yeah.
Because the idea is to protect society from any type of fawahish, right? Which may lead to fawahish too, right? So, I mean, from that point,
I know people we have to fight this nature inside us. We want to paint people purely evil and purely bad. This is a corruption in the deen. I know the brother, he's not an evil person. He's not someone who wishes or wants to corrupt the religion. He's very sincere and he's very self-reflective. At least, maybe I don't agree with the decision, but I think he's trying to generate, like I said, buzz and controversy, and put something that's a bit eyebrow raising, to put it mildly, and things are kind of clouded these days because there's this whole culture of influencers and people who are, self-made and entrepreneurs who want to, build clientele. They want to generate revenue, and they need to, grab your attention. And this is, unfortunately, the kind of the darker side of promotion, of building clientele, building audiences that many Muslims are kind of falling under. Not just Mahdi, but many Instagram models on the sister side. It's just a sign of the times. I don't know what else to tell you guys.
I agree.
It's not something that is very simple and clear cut where you can say haram, evil person, bad Mahdi, bad Instagram girls, you're all evil. Many of those sisters are sincere too, and they have a very strong love for the deen and the religion, but they are doing what they feel is required to build an audience and clientele. Maybe you and I don't agree with it, the traditional minded brothers who like to keep our family life private, who have a protective nature over our women, and we wouldn't want to do that. But in certain spaces, that's what's required to build their clientele.
Someone brought something interesting in the we're gonna shift gears here because I just read it in the comment. Muzzy Buzz, y'all see the new International Women of Courage Award? It was awarded to a biological male.
Shut up.
This is horrible, man. I mean, I feel bad. I'm honestly starting to feel bad for women because, they can't even get Women of the Year award anymore because they're even, I think, what didn't Caitlyn Jenner win Women of the Year award in one of those years?
Oh wow, this is true. So hang on, let me share it here.
It's crazy, man. SubhanAllah, bro.
Here we go.
Okay, here. Twitter laughs, groans as Joe Biden gives biological male Women of Courage award. Up your game, ladies. Oh my God, how embarrassing. Wallah.
Wow.
I don't even know what to say, bro. I mean, you know what these people...
So Jill Biden is, for those who are listening internationally, Jill Biden is the wife of the President of the United States, Joe Biden, and they gave an award for women on International Women's Day to a biological male who now identifies as a woman.
So are people going to say that just men do everything better, including being women? What are they going to say?
That is...
I mean, this is what it's coming to, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're getting the Women of the Year award. They're getting the International Women's Courage, whatever this is. I mean, they're totally
they're
like
winning in sports competitions now because that were primarily designed for women. Now,
I think feminists should be outraged by this.
I think women in general
Yeah,
should be
I'm saying
outraged.
women, feminists, whatever, should be outraged the fact that men are taking your awards from you. They're biologically men. This is outrageous.
Oh, here's a picture of the winner.
What does it look like? What is that? Which one is it? Oh, the one in the middle?
Girl, come on.
What was the courage for being like transitioning? Like, what was the courage for?
Alba Rueda currently serves as Argentina's current special envoy for sexual orientation and gender identity in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, International Trade and Worship. You know, it's so funny, like all these companies and everyone who is fighting for these trans rights and stuff. These people are also actively fighting against unions. People who are working to build unions in their organizations, like Starbucks, etc. Many of these companies are busting liberal ideas while they fight for things that they have they don't have a stake in. They know it's easy extra credit that they can win brownie points with.
They donate some fund to it that gets tax free for them at the end of the year.
Yeah, they
get the booster credit with the general public or for everybody, inclusiveness. But yet at the same time, they have wage stagnation. They're cutting back on benefits. They're not, they're trying to, de-unionize companies, and the stuff that really matters is just out the window.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me, man. This is thank you, Juice, for bringing that up because I had no idea.
Starbucks, Amazon, who else? There's a whole bunch of these companies who are just fighting tooth and
you're
nail.
saying don't forget the Miss Universe organization. Its new owner is a trans Thai person. When he spoke on the stage, he said, "We women" multiple times, and women were outraging over that.
Yeah. Well.
Aladdin. Hold on. Also, the Miss Universe organization is new owner is trans. Yeah. Wow, subhanallah. Yeah.
All right. You want to wrap this puppy up?
Yep. Is there anything else left to cover? Or
folks, just make sure to go ahead and give you the old like and subscribe button. Throw a comment in the comment section below. I know many of you guys throw a lot of stuff in the chat. Throw some, even if it's negative, go ahead and put it in the chat and tell us your criticism of what we may have missed. We're perfectly happy to accept any kind of criticism, and we are not in the business of deleting comments unless you're genuinely rude and just
or Islamophobic.
Yeah, using nasty language.
Because we get those occasional Hindus that come in and try to say something dumb.
Yeah, there's always that. They're an active presence on Twitter. Do you watch some Hindu nationalist accounts?
No, but there was a study that 97% of anti-Islamic comments on the internet are by Hindus.
Wow. And they're the most active presence in Muslim communities, at least in the United States, who are working against building mosques.
Yeah. We had in our own community here in Naperville.
Yeah, but alhamdulillah, we still got it passed.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So we definitely, if you're part of that group, then you're probably going to get blocked.
Yeah.
Or if you're part of the Qawm al-Huruf and you write some comment, you might get blocked as well too. But
tell us what you think about whether MBS's new programs are actually designed to undermine Islam. I think we kind of left out in the area. They're still to be continued. Maybe we need to do some more research with our own contacts in Saudi Arabia.
I didn't want to elaborate more until I really dug in and find out what the source of all this was, right? Because I'm just as confused as everybody else is.
Yeah. All right, friends. That's our show for this evening. We'll see y'all next time. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Boop, 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 boop. Where's my outro? There it is.